You know, it's been said many times that Grossinger's was the place for everybody. And of course, originally it was a Jewish resort. But as the times changed, marketing in resorts, and whether it be Grossinger's or the Homestead or Boca Resort, had to go and broaden their markets. And we had only been involved with Jewish conventions, JWB, synagogues, and so forth. And so we decided we would broaden our markets, and we thought the group of people who were the most like the Jewish people would be the Italian people because of their love of food, of family, of entertainment. And so we had the Knights of Columbus as our first non-Jewish convention. And we had arranged with the local priest to come up on Saturday night before dinner to celebrate Mass. And we worked on those menus with the pasta, with the whole thing. I mean, must have been weeks and weeks. The convention comes up, and it is fantastic. Everybody had a wonderful time. We gave the chairperson a evaluation sheet. And Monday morning, we have our executive staff meeting and the department heads, and we review the comments, and all of them were fine, except where it said the food, and it gave it an 8 out of 10 with an asterisk. Down at the bottom it says, "Where were the potato pancakes and blintzes? We came here to eat
so
those
funny.
and not pasta." So I call that my "yes, we have no blintzes."
That's a great story. That's a great story because when you go to a Chinese restaurant,
Yeah.
they don't expect to eat Swedish
Of
meatballs.
course.
That is a great story. What year, Elaine, are we talking when that happened?
Gee, God, that goes back. I'm not sure.
By then,
Probably.
would have been what, maybe early 80s, late 70s?
Yeah, I was going to say the late 70s, early 80s.
All right, so look at the amount of time it took until Grossinger's took on, for many reasons, a sort of a universalist tenor. When you think that the origins of the hotel in the teens, before World War I, it was distinctly Jewish,
Oh, yes.
and remained so through the war. What about during the war years? The hotel was open during the war years?
We were open, but it was a limited kind of business, and you had to deal with the food stamps and everything. I was so young then, I really don't know. I know they managed.
Right.
And of course, after the war, after World War II, we invited couples or soldiers from the various, there were 3 big military hospitals in the metropolitan area, and we had someone from each hospital with a companion to come up and spend a week as our guests.
It was during the war.
Yeah.
So by the time I got there, which would have been in the late 50s, it was still distinctly Jewish, so much so that the entertainers were basically the Jewish stand-up comics, but those Jewish stand-up comics were universal anyway because they were largely on widely watched television. But for example, at the pool, the entertainment was a Jewish raconteur, Emil Cohen, and that would have revealed how basically the audience would have enjoyed Jewish humor. And that's what Emil stood for, and he was marvelous. And he was, I think, instrumental in helping me get a job at the hotel, which, as you know, was a very big thing. When you had a job at the hotel, you had to know someone. So Emil was the connection, and he was a much beloved person.
Of course, I loved when he and Lou Goldstein did the Gettysburg Address. Emil would do it in Yiddish, and Lou Goldstein would repeat it in English, and that was wonderful.
Hilarious. But again, it reveals that they were playing to an audience that was distinctly, if not completely Jewish. And I think it showed that the hotel began as an outgrowth of the need for Jewish people from the environs, New York, whether Philadelphia and so forth, to leave the urban setting, come up in the summer, get away from the heat, and be in what was an oasis.
Well, they had no place to go. They couldn't. There were no Jewish country clubs.
Right.
They were all restricted. Air conditioning was non-existent and then just starting. and they had to do something. And of course, that's what brought the people to come up, and the husbands would leave the wives and the children for whether it's a week, 2 weeks. Some people came for the season. In fact, we had one family who came, mother, the father, 3 children, and 2 horses.
That's funny.
And then it came for the whole summer. And the clothes would arrive, whether it was a railway express or these big, I guess they were flatbed trucks where the racks from the garment center with tarps over them with all the clothes.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite things is, you know, a place where everybody could be comfortable. Was during midweek, and we had a rabbinical group, and then we had a day trip from the gals from Mount St. Mary's School in Newburgh. And they came for a day outing, and the Mother Superior was with them, and it was when they wore habits. And I was walking through the building, and I come down to the ping pong area, and I couldn't believe what I saw. There, the chief rabbi was playing ping pong with the Mother Superior.
What a great picture that would be.
It was wonderful.
Well, I think it does show, you know, the growth of America, and in a way, Grossinger's reflects that passage through an era that never happened before and will never happen again. It was a distinct slice of time, let's say from 1914 or 15, when the hotel began, until when the hotel reached its terminal stage. The world had changed, relationships had changed, Jews had assimilated so that the question of restricted clubs was probably still existed, but much, much scaled down. And the wealthier people who would have gone to Grossinger's are now going to Europe. They're now belonging to this golf club or that golf club, and the whole ideology of it shifted. And it was almost inevitable that that slice of time was valuable and extraordinary in American Jewish life, but it had to come to an end.